Danielle. Welcome to Race and Crafts. This is video 6 of the Manila Folder mini album series. When we left off, we had decorated all of our pages, put all of our pages in, and then we did the big tags to go in the pockets. So today what we're going to work on is little photo mats and then some borders to stick the photo mats. Sorry if I could talk. It might just work. Behind. I've already pre-cut. I have 2 different sizes of photo mats here. This big size here is 7.5 by 5.5, and the pattern paper is cut at 7.25 by 5.25, which will give us a nice 1/4 inch border around any 5 by 7 pictures they should choose. My smaller mats are 4.5 by 6.5, and the photo mats are 4.25 by 6.25. So again, we're going to have a 1/4 inch border around 4 by 6 photo. I am going to go ahead and put pattern paper on both sides. And what I did was I picked through and found, when I cut my pattern papers down to go on the inside, they resulted in paper that is 6.25 by 12. So when I cut it down for the 5 by 5.25 by 7.25 paper, it left me naturally a 4.25 by 6.25 inch piece of paper. So why cut more paper when you can just cut this? I did have to trim it down to 4.25. It was a little bit wider than that. It might have been 4.5 inches wide, I want to say. But it worked out great. So why would I have to go through and pick out more pattern paper when all I would have to do is cut a 1/4 inch off of that and it fit perfect? So that's what I did. So the photo mats are going to match, so we're going to have to be careful not to put the corresponding photo mats together. We'll kind of flip them around, so this is the top of one stack and this is the bottom or whatever. So I'm going to leave these square. I'm not going to round the corners. I know I made a big deal about rounding the rest of the corners, but these are going to teachers. These are teacher gifts for my nephews, teachers. If they're not crafters, there's a chance they're not going to have a corner rounder. And then if I round these corners and she puts regular photos on there, it'll look funny. As a matter of fact, the corners won't measure up right. So I'm just going to leave all of these in their rectangle form and not round the corners, just so that I don't have to worry, or the teacher who receives this doesn't have to worry about how to make the photos fit or look right. So it's going to be really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my 4.25, well, 4.5 by 6.5 inch pieces. And you're just simply, once again, you could use ATG or whatever adhesive you trust, because you want it to make sure that it's going to stay. You don't want to give it to somebody and then like it comes off and then they're like, well, what do I do with this now? So I'm using this wet adhesive that I know is going to stay. I don't have to worry at all about whether it's going to come off. Okay. And I will probably fast forward from here on out, because you're going to do the same thing with the big pieces too. And again, just like with the big photo mats, you need to be careful about your patterns, how you're making your patterns go. Not that it makes a huge difference, but you just want to make sure, like, I don't want those patterns together. So we're going to do a flip-flop there. Because, I mean, not all people take pictures the same way. So some of these, it won't matter. You'll just be able to turn the photo mats.
Casey's 22nd. 68 laps to go.
guys, I'm back. I have all of our photo mats matted with pattern paper on both sides. And again, I just reversed their orders so we don't have light colors together. Now for the borders. On the initial photo mini album I did, I actually used my Silhouette to cut them, and that's perfectly fine. Any border you have will work. Even if you get, I don't know if I have any, yeah. Okay, this is baby, but you know those sticker sheets? This will work. You'll just want to put that on some cardstock first, so that you can control, A, make it a little wider, and B, control where the sticky goes, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I have one that I think I am happy with, which is this one. And all I did was take the EK Success, I think it's Trees, punch, and I punched it once in green and once in white, and then I just flipped one of them over so they were opposite and just kind of lined them up. And I did go through and cut a couple of the trees out that I didn't like the way they looked, but overall it works together and I like the way it works, so that I'm going to use as one of my borders. And then I used the EK Success Snowflake Edge Punch, which this was an edge punch too. And I have this so far, but that's kind of plain, so we're going to dress it up a little bit, and that's what I'm going to show you. I'm fairly certain everybody knows how to punch paper, so I'm not going to take the time to do that. Like I said, I'm fairly sure that most people, if not everyone, knows how to do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to add some patterned paper. Obviously, these aren't long enough, though. Oh, excuse me. Here we go. What size are these? These? Yeah, they're not long enough either. Okay. So we'll just grab some... Ooh, I like this. What about this paper? That's kind of... No, I'm not a big fan of that either. Okay, so I'm gonna dig through my box of stuff back here. The pattern paper that I'm using happened to have a border sheet, which is, you know, a piece of printed paper that is nothing but little separate borders that you can cut apart. So I do have some border options. No, that doesn't work. It's not working for me either. I think I'm just going to take... Ooh, that I kind of like. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use some, I have some glitter tape. That's the blue one. Where's the other one? There's part of it. I just had it the other day. Here it is. And I'm going to see how that looks. Well, apparently, I'm going to have to open it again. There we go. I don't know how I feel about that. So, I have another idea. So, I'm going to line the pattern paper up along the edge closest to that. So I'm going to grab, I'm going to pull this drawer out here. You're going to see it for a second. I've got this deco foil and I've got some silver. I just put all of my deco foil in together. Okay, where is the silver? There it is. There we go. And the cool thing about deco foil is there's other ways to use it than just with like toner-based ink or with the glue that comes with it. And I'm just gonna quick wrap the rest of that up and stick it back in its container. One way to do it, and I will have to pull my Big Shot over, but I'm cool with that, is I'm going to take my little 1/4 inch score tape, if I could talk. It would be fantastic. And I'm just going to run it along this back edge. And I'm going to get that out of there so that doesn't cause some problems. And I think, yep, that will be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my bone folder and I'm going to press this down really well. And I'm going to trim the tape off of my edges. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel up my backing strip, and I'm going to bring my foil over, and I'm just going to place it over the tape. And I'm going to cut this part down. And I'm going to grab a little piece extra because I have just a touch that is not covered. And if it's not covered, then there will be no foil there. So that's one thing that you need to be very careful, that you've got foil everywhere you want it, because it will be strikingly obvious if there's no foil there. Okay, now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to sandwich it in a piece of cardstock. This is just a card base that I had sitting around. Oop, it's not quite big enough. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a big piece of paper and fold it in half with my border in there. And I'm going to pull in my Big Shot. And you're going to run it through. I'm going to line it up on one edge down here so I know it's covered. And you're just going to run it through like you would for a regular thin die, wafer thin die. And I just ran it through once and then rolled it back. Okay. And I'm going to peel it off. And there is our edge. See, there's just a tiny bit left. which I will save because I might find a little tiny edge that I want to cover. Okay, so now I'm just going to line up and put this little piece of pattern paper across it. And I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for that. I'm just going to quick cover that. And we will throw our pattern paper down over it. Okay, so there's a little bit of flap on the back, and I'm just going to run my glue underneath there and just squeeze a little bit of glue in there, just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip this guy over and trim the pattern paper off. And there we have a pretty finished border. And I've got a little bit of extra sticky from Extra Glue, so I'm just going to grab my powder bag and tap that over it. It's going to leave a mark, unfortunately, so you want to be careful with your adhesive, but that's okay. I'm kind of not bothered so much by it. Ugh. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this and our other border and our photo mats and our book. Okay, so I'm going to, let's go here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and round my edges so that they match up to the edges of the paper here, like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my wet glue, and you want wet glue for this, and I'm just going to come down this side and across the bottom. And then up this side. I'm spreading glue everywhere. Okay, and then we're just going to line it up on that edge. And just go ahead and push it down. And then I'm going to let that dry for a second, and I'm going to pick another spot to put another border. What do we think? That's kind of neat. Yeah, I kind of like that. This one, I've kind of kicked around a couple ideas to kind of dress up this bottom. And I think I'm going to go ahead and go with one of my ideas. And that is to add a little bit of glitter across that. You know, everybody's like, glitter, ugh, it's a mess. Yeah, it can be a mess, but it's really pretty too. So, now the decisions are do I go with a glitter that matches or a glitter that doesn't match? And I think I'm going to go with this darker glitter. Okay. And we're going to grab our little carrier sheet here that we used before, just to help us funnel everything back where it came from. And again, I'm going to use my handy dandy. Oop, I'm going to get this out of the way for a second, because this will stick to that, and that would be a bad deal. Okay, so I'm going to use this 1/4 inch score tape, and again I'm going to go across this bottom, or as close to the bottom as I can. Oops, I cut that, I tore that too soon. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to go ahead and cut on both sides, since I already rounded the corners, to match the score tape with the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to press that down, and I'm going to peel up the paper. And pull in our paper there. And I'm just going to press that in, rub my finger along it a little bit. And we'll tap it off. And I'm going to grab a paintbrush and kind of sweep the extra glitter off. And I'm going to run my finger up and down again, and just kind of make sure that everybody is pressed in. And there we go. And I'm going to gather my glitter up. And put it back. And I'm going to grab my Swiffer cloth, which looks like I need to get a new one out. I usually keep one right there on my desk to clean up my glitter messes and my embossing powder, because let me tell you what, nothing handles glitter and embossing powder quite like a Swiffer does. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Swiffer right over it a couple times too, just to make sure we have all the excess glitter mopped up, because there's nothing worse than opening something and a bunch of glitter falling out on you. I hate that. Okay, so again, we're going to grab our book again, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just run glitter up the side across the very bottom, and up the other side. What I did was I just took some scrap paper to make these, and I just punched them on the scrap paper and then cut them down to 1 inch. Okay, so there is our second border, and again, we only adhered the very bottom part. So we're going to go back to our first one here, and we can start putting photo mats in. And you'll see they just are going to slide right in. Oop, those won't. So I need the smaller ones. Okay. So they just slide right in there. And let's pick a nice green, just like that.
Come on, Kyle, get a go.
And then I'm going to come back here to my other one and we'll slide a couple more in.
Nope. Go, Kyle.
Just like that. These big guys we can slide in here. I love the fact that these are so versatile. We can do so much with these. And I like pairing something large with a tag. I have a couple tags made, so I'll show you.
Kyle, you can do it.
Except I've moved stuff so much, I don't know where the tag got put. Well, I'll show you guys what I mean in the next video, because I've got one more where I will show you the finished and completely decorated. I'm going to give you a heads up. The only decorating I do is I'm going to go ahead and I will decorate these pockets here. Every one of them is going to get some kind of a decoration, whether it's a word or a snowman or what. And then I will figure out, I think I have figured out what I'm going to put on the front of this guy. I got a new stamp yesterday, and I was playing with it, and I made a snowman shaker card. Not shaker card. Wow, I can't talk today. A snow globe shaker. And I think I'm going to put that on the front, but I don't know yet. Okay, so you have I have 4 more photo mats. I can easily, I think I'm going to make up one more border. And you can stick these in the pockets too. That's always fun. You can do whatever. I just think that 8 is a nice number. Here, we'll stick one in there. It's a nice even number, and I like even numbers. So, yeah. I think I'll save 2 and go ahead and make one more